Chapter 7 of Angel Food Little Talks to Little Folks by Rev Gerald T. Brennan. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. Is God very big? Larry was 6 years old. One day, Larry's grandmother took him for a walk. They came to a church, and Larry had never been inside a church. Larry was just like all other little boys. Just as soon as he and his grandmother were inside the church, Larry began to ask questions. What was this, and what was that? He wanted to know everything. His grandmother showed him the pretty pictures on the windows and all of the statues, and then she knelt down to pray. Pretty soon Larry said, "Grandma, what's that big thing up there in front?" "Why, that's the altar," said the grandmother. "Larry," she said, "do you see that little gold door up there? Well, that's the door of God's house. That's where God lives, up there." Then Larry asked another question. He said, "Grandma, is God very big?" "Oh," said the grandmother, "God is awful big. Why, God is so big that He is bigger than any person you ever saw. Yes, bigger than your father, bigger than anybody." The little boy didn't talk for a long time, and the old lady went on with her prayers. After a while she felt a tug on her dress. The old lady looked down at Larry, and Larry said, "Grandma, if God is so big, if God is as big as you say He is, then in order to get inside that little door, God must have to stoop pretty low." Yes, boys and girls, God does have to stoop pretty low. God had to stoop pretty low on the first Christmas night when He left His home in heaven and came down and was born in a stable. God certainly had to stoop pretty low that night, but He did it because He loves us. You know, boys and girls, when Jesus carried a big heavy cross through the streets, He had to stoop pretty low. When Jesus let bad men beat Him with whips, spit upon Him, and put sharp thorns on His thread, He had to stoop pretty low. And worst of all, when Jesus let Himself be nailed to the cross, Jesus had to stoop awfully, awfully low. But why does Jesus stoop so low? He stoops so low because He loves us. Even this morning Jesus is stooping low. I mean in the Mass, when Jesus leaves heaven and comes down on our altar. But Jesus likes to stoop low because He loves us and wants to be with us. And sometimes, boys and girls, even you make Jesus stoop low. When you are too lazy to say your prayers, when you come late for Mass, you make Jesus stoop low. When you talk and laugh in church, when you never come to see Jesus, then you make Jesus stoop low. Remember, boys and girls, Jesus is always stooping low for you. Please, don't make Jesus stoop too low. End of Chapter 7.